Hiya guys, and welcome back to Wade's Workshop. So as the title suggests, my 10 favourite tools in the workshop. So, we all get tools that we use on a regular basis, and we've all got, well, I think I've got more tools than most normal people. Shall I say machinists with home workshops aren't normal people. I'm a tool collector. You can never have enough tools. I mean, I think that's a man thing. You could never have enough tools, regardless of what they're for. But with that said, I've got tools I use on a regular basis, and I've got tools which I've got multiples of, and then sometimes I'll always pick that one particular tool. So let's say I had 10 0 to 1 inch micrometers, for instance. I'd always use either the really good one or that favourite one that we always go to. So this video is all about me picking my 10 favourite tools in the workshop. So we'll start at number 10 all the way up to number 1. I hope you find it interesting, guys. So I think we'll start with number 10. So it's a 3/16 Allen key. It's a Bondus is the brand, Hex Pro, and it's got a swivel end on it. But this is the one I always use on my little vise, and I just find this. Oh, it's just great. I wish I had a set of them, actually. I might look at an Imperial's metric set, because I use metric more than anything. Might look to see if there's a set available, but it's Bondus, Bondhus, I think is the brand, Hex Pro, and this one particular one is a 3/16 for my vise. And I had a couple of 3/16 Allen keys, but since I've had this, I literally haven't looked back. This is my second one I've had. I did actually break the first one, but then I was really gronking on it, and I've got engineer's hands, and I my own fault, I broke it. But you can gronk on it without being silly. I was being silly that day when I broke one, but I find it absolutely brilliant. So when I did break the original one, I was mourning it, and I went and got another one. So number 10 on my favourite tools in the workshop, it's very simple. It's this Allen key. So number 9 is my quill plate. So yeah, there is a video, one of my early videos showing me making this when I first got the mill, and it's adaptability. So it's got a built-in quill stop, which is really useful. There are some tap holes across here which can be useful, and I have used them from time to time for bolting stuff on, for measuring and setting up. But more often than not, and I don't think I show this, but I've got a DTI which mounts on the quill plate. So a good stiff 12mm rod, I think it's 1/2 inch. It's a Mitutoyo setup. I did change to a brass rod because the rod that was on it, I didn't have. I think I salvaged it for something, so there's a bit of brass rod, but it's very useful in that I've got the clock here. I can set it up wherever I want it, for clocking things up, dialing things in, even for obviously not with the chuck in there, but I can clock things up on the table. I can clock things up or clock things out of line, over a specific distance. But yeah, I mean, I've got the clock here. It's a Mitutoyo clock, metric. I think it's a 0.01 increments, 10mm. But having the ability to just, let's say with a big mill, you've always got somewhere to stick a mag stand. Let's have a look. You can't quite see the clock in what's it. With a big mill, you've always got somewhere to stick the mag stand on a bed or a slideway. But with a small mill like this, and especially with all the guard covers and the way covers and all that sort of thing, there's never anywhere to stick a magnet on. So having it mounted directly on the head, I can come literally anywhere on the bed using this setup. And when I've finished with it, let me just get the Allen key. Oh, I got it here. When I finish with it, I can simply store it away. Let's just fold that up out of the way so it's not getting damaged. There we are. I just simply undo that bolt, drop her out, and that is my clocking setup. So number 9 would be my quill plate and my DTI basically set up for clocking things in on the mill. You know what, I don't think I've ever shown this. I've shown other ways I've done it, but I use the low profile DTI holder a lot. But yeah, this is my sort of go-to for alignment. So yeah, that's my number 9 favourite tool, even though it's a mod, shall we say. Is my vice stop. There's lots of ways to do it, but I have got this device here which goes up, down, left, right, what have you, swivels around. It's got a pointy end, and it's got a rounded end. I can lift it up and down, as they say. I can change the lengths and I can swivel it all around and get to where I want to go, down in the vise, that sort of idea. The base again is on a T-slot and T-nut. So for instance, if I want to line up on this back jaw of the vise, I can, you know, just get it where I want it, lock it down, lock everything in position, adjust it, what have you. I use it quite regularly, very regularly, in fact, whenever I'm doing repetitive work within the vise. It's shop made, again, there's a video on making this, you know, the vice stop. I've used it continuously, it's the only one I use. Sometimes I'll butt a block up onto the mill if it's, you know, larger work, and clamp a block on the bed or what have you, if it, you know, but this is the go-to for most of the small stuff. So yeah, I ever since I've made it, I've just used this 90% of the time, unless I'm clamping a block down with the clamps. So that's my number 8 favourite tool in the workshop. Moving swiftly on, number 7. So any regular followers will have seen me using these time in, time out. On the smaller benchtop lathes, they can't take a huge amount of load, and the tool in question, in this case, not the tip lathe tool, but the tips themselves. So it's the tips that are specific for aluminium. Now, being specific for aluminium means they have a higher top rake, they're typically ground, and they have a smaller point radius, and all that adds to reducing load. And obviously the top rakes that are on them have the geometry for aluminium. However, I've used them on stainless steel, I've used them on cast, I've used them on standard steels, as long as you're not working it like you know, the gold coated tips. But for the small lathes, surface finish, everything far better using one of these tips. If you're hogging off material, then just go for the standard tips. But on the mini lathes, because of the small point radius and the higher top rake typically, and the ground finish, they seem to remove a lot of load from the lathes, and they just work a treat. So my number 7 favourite tool within the shop are the carbide tips that are specific for aluminium. So number 6, are we number 6? I think we're number 6. My 0 to 25, 0 to 1 Mitutoyo digital mic. Yeah, I mean, it's just my favourite go-to one. I know it's got to be right. So yeah, there is a model number on it. Oh gosh, it's a C/N 293-832-30. Takes an SR44 battery, made in Japan, what have you. It's got a serial number on it. But yeah, I did buy this brand new, unopened in its packet, and yeah, it's my go-to, and I absolutely love it. So I've checked it, I've got gauges, standards, and I checked it, and yes, it goes to 3 decimal places, which is over the top most of the time. I've got other mics for that. You will have seen me using this fairly recently, and yeah, you can go chasing microns, but it's a great clock, and it's one of my favourite tools within the workshop. So there we are, that's the next one. So coming in at number 5, needle file holders. So yeah, I've got packets and packets of needle files. Some needle files come with the handles already built in, like this little Draper set here. Okay, so I'll just take those out of the way. Most of the time they don't. Put those back in the drawer where the needle files are kept. So these needle file holders, again, I made them early days of the workshop here, and they're just my go-to needle file handles. I can change the needle file quickly, straight in. I've got a couple of different sizes of these for different size needle files, but they've got a little collet. Let me show. So yeah, I made these out of brass. You know, they're hollowed out up the inside. It's got a split collet, which was done with a hacksaw, thread on the outside, little tapered sleeve, and obviously I'll put that on loose. Needle file goes in, tighten up the collet, and there it is, it's secure and it's not coming out. So yeah, they are my number 5 favourite tool in the workshop because I use them so often. Moving swiftly on to number 4, oilers. So with the Warco machines, they come with these bottles, which are a little screw cap on them, little bend in the arm, and I do use this occasionally when it's somewhere difficult to get in, but my go-to is my Nippey piston oiler. So this thing, well, it'll probably squirt 20 feet if I pulled the trigger openly, but for getting into the little oil cup nipples, absolutely perfect. It's pressurized, and if I give any of the oiling points on my machines a squirt with this, I know it's gone in there. Yeah, and you know, I keep that to hand every time I oil the machines, which is typically it depends on how much they're being used, but typically if I'm in the shed once a week, I'll oil the machine up that I'm going to use before using it, and then sometimes clean it down at the end. I was dreadful at one time for coming down, cleaning the machine, then doing the job and leaving it dirty, and I know that's really bad. So I've got out of that habit now. I'll clean the machine before I leave the shed, and then I'll give it an oil up before I start working on it the next time, and this is my go-to. So yeah, number 4 is my Nippey oiler, and some of you who view regularly might see that this is actually magic. So coming in at number 3, strangely enough, because I use them so regularly, so fly cutters, milling cutters and what have you. Yes, there are going to be times when you need carbide and what have you. If I need a carbide one, I can change that over to a carbide tip lathe tool. So that's my original one, which I used over and over and over for a number of years. Actually made this on the lathe. So yeah, that was used a lot. But since I've done the improved version, which is in a video 3 or 4 videos back, that has top rake on the cutter, so the slot is in at an angle, I've just found this to be a revelation. So yeah, it is so much better, and just works a treat. And on aluminium, it works on steel as well. You'd probably, yeah, you'd have to run it quite slow on carbide or what, on stainless or what have you, or anything tough, you know, if you had a bit of D2. But it's a go-to milling cutter, and obviously it can be reground as often as you like, lapped as often as you like, and works out a lot cheaper for sort of large surfaces than if you were using conventional milling cutters, which are expensive. You know, I can't afford to go buying milling cutters. In industry, slightly different, you know, it's a consumable, but in the shed here, I can dress this, you know, a piece of 1/2 inch square tool steel, you know, is, you know, 2 or 3 pounds, whereas you know, a milling cutter can be 20-30 pounds on its own, depending on the size. So yeah, this is my go-to for the small mill here. Number 3 comes in, it's my fly cutters. I'd recommend anyone with a mini mill to get themselves sorted with fly cutters. Getting into the top 2 now, and my second favourite tool in the shop has to be, again, a homemade one, is my low profile DTI holder. Now you guys will have seen me use this time and time again. I used it in the last video when we did the tailstock on the mini lathe. Yeah, I mean, it goes straight in the chuck, it goes straight in the collet. It's just my go-to for picking up holes, centres, anything else. It was a game changer, excuse me, compared to the previous way I was doing it. Obviously the design's by Stefan Gotteswinter. If you follow Stefan's channel, you'll know all about this. You will have seen him making his. If you followed my channel, you would have seen me making mine, and even making a little box to keep it in. So that number 2 favourite tool in the workshop has to be the Stefan Gotteswinter low profile DTI holder. I mean, its versatility is wonderful, and I just, yeah, it's my second favourite tool in the workshop, and it lives in its box. It's a solid wood box. I even engraved it with the AIDS Workshop, made by AIDS Workshop 2024, with one of my logos on. So yeah, absolutely love this tool. It's my go-to for clocking up, you know, picking up holes, picking up circular objects, anything like that. Edge finding, anything really. It's just a wonderful design, and thank you, Stefan, for that design, which is free to anybody, but just don't go selling them or making them and selling them or anything. But yeah, because that wouldn't be fair, would it? But I really like it, and thanks again, Stefan, for the idea and the design. So in at number 1, is it a tool? Yes, of course it is. Well, it's a possession, it's a tool. My Moore & Wright wood toolbox, M&W written on the front. It does have a, if I turn it the right way, it does have the key, which is a bonus. Cover drops in there. I normally keep the key in the top of here, I don't keep it locked. So micrometers, all sorts in here. It basically, I've just messed that up. What have I got in there? I was in here just now messing about with it, and I've jammed it up. Right, there we are. So micrometers, again, more micrometers, snap gauges, there's a sine bar in there, so various more mics, bore gauges, that sorts of thing, all sorts really. There's some feeler gauges and more gauges in there. I've done it again, I've just been in here juggling stuff around. So again, in here, various parallels, and I keep my adjustable parallels in there as well. That's why it didn't fit properly, because that wasn't in right. Okay, more micrometers, various oil stones, you know, mics, that sort of thing. What have I got here? More micrometers, all kept in the drawers, and even more micrometers. In fact, I think I've got, yes, a box of oil stones in there, which I use regularly as well. Again, one of my favourite things. Lovely, lovely 25 to 50 Starrett mic in this box. Hasn't got all the bits and pieces with it, but I do like this mic as well. Again, that's one of my favourite things. It's a Moore & Wright gauge, but you know. Anyway, so yeah, my number 1 favourite thing in the workshop, and I searched for one for years at the right money, is my Moore & Wright, basically Toolmaker's Toolbox. I've just cleared, I keep stuff on the top of it, don't get me wrong, I've cleaned it up especially for you guys, but yeah, I use this, you know, daily. That's where I keep all my nice stuff that'll fit in there. I have got other toolboxes in the shed. In fact, wooden toolboxes, I have one in the house, I have another one here, and the big tool chest that I use, you know, full of screwdrivers, all the pliers, various bits, tap wrenches, all in that one. So yeah, my number 1 favourite thing, and we're going to call it a tool, yes, let's call it a tool, is a toolbox, and that's my favourite thing. Well, there we are. They wouldn't be everybody's 10 favourite things in my workshop, let alone their own, but they're my 10 favourite things, and there were so many things that could have made the cut. Probably took me an hour just looking round thinking, what are my favourite things? What do I use a lot? What wouldn't I want to be without? And the number 1, the toolbox. So yeah, I wanted one for years and years. I've had cheap ones, I've had nasty ones and whatever, and that was something I'd looked out for at the right price, and eventually I found one. And I don't go in there that often, but it's one of those things that I feel I've made it because I've got a Moore & Wright wooden tool chest. So there is that anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. Yeah, as I say, there are so many other things that could have made the cut. But this is what came to mind when I had a scour around and thought, okay, there's one, there's another. Kept going till I had 10 things. Started with my most favourite, which was, for me, it was obvious, and then worked my way downhill. So yeah, there we are. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you all very soon. Cheers now.